Have you ever wondered about the true origin of Black people in the Bible? A story that has remained hidden, yet holds extraordinary revelations that could transform your understanding of human history. For centuries, misconceptions and misinterpretations have clouded the truth. But within the ancient texts, archaeological findings, and historical records lies an incredible narrative waiting to be uncovered. From the mighty kingdoms of ancient Africa to the powerful civilizations that shaped our world, this journey will take you through time to discover the remarkable legacy that has been overlooked for far too long. Join us as we unravel one of history's most profound mysteries, examining evidence from biblical texts, archaeological discoveries, and historical documents that tell a story far different from what many have been led to believe. What you're about to discover may completely change the way you view not just biblical history, but the entire course of human civilization. After the Great Flood, humanity emerged from a single family, Noah and his three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. From these three branches, the diverse peoples of our world would spring forth, each establishing mighty civilizations that would shape the course of human history. Shem's lineage extended through the heart of the Middle East, giving rise to the Semitic peoples. His descendants would establish the foundations of Jewish, Arab, and other Middle Eastern civilizations, carrying forward ancient traditions that continue to influence our world today. Japheth's line spread far and wide, reaching into the lands that would become Europe and Asia. His descendants ventured across vast territories, establishing diverse cultures and kingdoms that would eventually span from the Atlantic shores to the Pacific Rim. But it is through Ham's lineage that we discover one of history's most fascinating chapters. His sons, Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan, would become the patriarchs of mighty African civilizations. The book of Genesis records that Cush's domain extended through ancient Ethiopia, Nubia, and Sudan, regions that would give birth to some of humanity's earliest and most sophisticated societies. Mizraim's territory became Egypt, the land of pharaohs and pyramids, whose achievements in architecture, mathematics, and astronomy would leave the world in awe. Put's descendants populated North Africa, establishing the ancient Berber civilizations and laying the groundwork for the great kingdoms of Libya. These biblical accounts find remarkable correlation with archaeological evidence. Ancient settlements, architectural wonders, and cultural artifacts tell the story of advanced African civilizations that flourished in these very regions. From the pyramids of Egypt to the ancient cities of Nubia, the material record confirms the biblical narrative of Africa's pivotal role in human history. The genetic and linguistic evidence further supports these connections. Modern research has traced the spread of ancient African languages and cultural practices along paths that align precisely with the biblical account of Ham's descendants' migrations. These scientific findings bridge the gap between sacred text and historical reality, revealing a legacy far more profound than many have recognized. Yet this is just the beginning of an extraordinary story that challenges many long-held assumptions about biblical history and the origins of civilization itself. As we delve deeper into ancient texts and archaeological discoveries, we'll uncover evidence that rewrites our understanding of humanity's earliest chapters. For generations, one of the most devastating misunderstandings in biblical interpretation has cast a long shadow over human history. The story of Noah's curse, found in Genesis, has been twisted and misused to justify terrible injustices. Today, we'll uncover the truth that has been obscured for far too long. The actual biblical account tells of an incident after the flood, when Noah had planted a vineyard and became intoxicated from its wine. While Noah lay uncovered in his tent, his son Ham saw his father's nakedness and told his brothers. Shem and Japheth respectfully covered their father, walking backward to avoid seeing him exposed. Upon awakening, Noah cursed not Ham, but Canaan, Ham's son, saying he would become a servant to his brothers. This crucial detail, that the curse was specifically directed at Canaan, not Ham or his other sons, has been overlooked throughout history. Nothing in the biblical text suggests this curse extended to Ham's other sons, Cush, Mizraim, and Put, who would become the forefathers of many African nations. The curse was explicitly limited to Canaan, whose descendants would later inhabit the land that became ancient Palestine. Historical records reveal how this misinterpretation gained traction during the expansion of the transatlantic slave trade. Those seeking to justify the enslavement of African peoples deliberately distorted this biblical narrative, falsely claiming that the curse fell upon all of Ham's descendants. This manipulated interpretation became a cornerstone of racist ideology, used to rationalize centuries of oppression. Biblical scholars have consistently rejected this false interpretation. The Hebrew texts make it clear that the curse was specific to Canaan, not a blanket condemnation of Ham's lineage. Moreover, the Bible repeatedly celebrates the achievements and divine favor shown to many nations descended from Ham's other sons. The Ethiopian eunuch in the book of Acts, for instance, is portrayed as a noble seeker of truth, who becomes one of the first Gentile converts to Christianity. Archaeological evidence further refutes this misinterpretation. The civilizations established by Ham's descendants, the Cushites, Egyptians, and other African kingdoms, were among the most advanced and prosperous of their time. These societies were often referred to in biblical texts with reverence and admiration, not as cursed or inferior peoples. The prophetic books of the Bible frequently speak of Egypt and Ethiopia, Cush, as great nations that would come to know and worship God. Psalm 68 specifically declares that Ethiopia shall soon stretch out her hands unto God, portraying Ham's descendants not as cursed, but as people destined for divine blessing. Yet this false teaching persisted, becoming deeply embedded in cultural and religious traditions. Its impact extended far beyond religious discourse, influencing social structures, laws, and attitudes that would shape societies for centuries. The damage caused by this misinterpretation cannot be overstated. It provided pseudo-religious justification for systemic racism and colonial exploitation. Understanding the true context of Noah's curse is crucial not only for biblical accuracy, but for dismantling the theological foundations of racial prejudice. The Bible's actual narrative reveals a story not of curse and condemnation, but of diverse peoples, all part of God's plan for humanity. Far from being cursed, Ham and his descendants emerged as pioneers of human civilization, establishing some of the most advanced and influential kingdoms in ancient history. The archaeological and historical record reveals a legacy of achievement that shaped the course of human development. After the Great Flood, Ham became the first to establish new cities and settlements. Ancient texts suggest he possessed extraordinary knowledge of architecture and astronomy, skills that would become hallmarks of the civilizations his children would build. These abilities were particularly evident in Egypt, where Ham's son Mizraim founded a kingdom that would become synonymous with architectural wonder. The kingdom of Cush, established by Ham's son Cush, developed sophisticated technologies in metallurgy and engineering. Cushite craftsmen were renowned for their mastery of goldwork and their innovative building techniques. Their cities, like ancient Meroe, featured advanced water systems and remarkable pyramids that still stand today, testament to their engineering prowess. In Egypt, the descendants of Mizraim created systems of mathematics and astronomy that would influence human knowledge for millennia. The Great Pyramid of Giza demonstrates their mastery of geometric principles and astronomical alignment. Their development of writing, the hieroglyphic system, preserved human knowledge and stories for generations, including some of the earliest historical records we possess. Archaeological discoveries in Sudan and Ethiopia reveal the extent of Kushite influence. Their kingdom controlled vast trade networks stretching from Central Africa to Arabia. The ruins of Napata and Meroe show evidence of advanced iron-smelting technology, leading some scholars to suggest that the Kushites may have developed iron working independently of other civilizations. The kingdom of Put, spanning across North Africa, developed sophisticated systems of agriculture and water management that transformed arid regions into productive farmland. Their understanding of desert ecosystems and water conservation techniques created prosperity in one of Earth's most challenging environments. Scientific analysis of ancient Egyptian mummies and artifacts has revealed advanced medical knowledge. The Edwin Smith Papyrus, dating to around 1600 BCE, documents surgical procedures and anatomical observations that demonstrate a level of medical understanding that wouldn't be matched in Europe for thousands of years. The influence of these civilizations extended far beyond Africa. Ancient texts from Mesopotamia refer to diplomatic and trade relationships with Kushite kingdoms. Egyptian mathematical knowledge influenced Greek scholars, while Kushite architectural techniques can be traced in buildings throughout the ancient world. Recent archaeological findings continue to expand our understanding of these civilizations' achievements. Satellite imagery has revealed hundreds of previously unknown settlements in Sudan, suggesting urban networks far more extensive than previously believed. Underwater archaeology in Egypt's ancient ports has uncovered evidence of advanced shipbuilding and navigation techniques. The question of Ham's final resting place remains one of history's intriguing mysteries. Various traditions place his tomb in different locations, some in Sudan, others in Ethiopia or Egypt. While we may never know the exact location, the vastness of his descendants' influence suggests his legacy was not confined to a single place. The achievements of Ham's descendants challenge us to reevaluate our understanding of ancient history. Their civilizations were not peripheral to human development, but central to it, creating innovations that would shape human society for millennia to come. These kingdoms weren't just recipients of civilization, they were its architects. As we conclude this journey through biblical and historical truth, we stand before a revelation that transforms our understanding of human history. The biblical narrative, when properly understood, reveals not a story of curse and shame, but one of greatness and divine purpose. Let us be absolutely clear. Nowhere in the Bible does God curse the African people or Ham's descendants as a whole. Instead, we find accounts of great kingdoms, powerful rulers, and advanced civilizations that shaped the ancient world. The archaeological evidence speaks volumes, from the pyramids of Egypt to the iron furnaces of Meroe, from the astronomical calculations of ancient mathematicians to the surgical precision of early physicians. The misconceptions that have clouded this truth for centuries were not born from biblical teaching, but from human prejudice. They represent not divine judgment, but human misinterpretation, used to justify historical injustices that contradict the very essence of biblical teaching about human dignity and worth. Consider the profound implications of what we've uncovered. The descendants of Ham were among humanity's earliest civilizers, pioneers in architecture, mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. Their achievements weren't peripheral to human development, they were central to it. The great kingdoms of Africa, Egypt, Kush, Nubia, and many others stand as testaments to this legacy of innovation and excellence. This truth carries immense significance for our understanding of both history and identity. The biblical account, when accurately interpreted, reveals a heritage of greatness that has too often been obscured. We are not descendants of a cursed lineage, but heirs to a legacy of achievement that helped shape human civilization. For those seeking to understand their place in biblical history, this revelation opens new horizons of understanding. It challenges us to look beyond centuries of misinterpretation to discover the authentic narrative that lies within ancient texts and archaeological evidence. The story of Ham's descendants is not a footnote in human history. It is one of its most remarkable chapters. This journey of discovery shouldn't end here. The truth about our biblical and historical heritage calls for continued exploration and understanding. Each artifact unearthed, each text re-examined, adds new dimensions to our understanding of this remarkable legacy. The more we learn, the clearer it becomes that the achievements of Ham's descendants were fundamental to human progress. Let this knowledge inspire you to delve deeper into both biblical truth and historical fact. The evidence is there, in ancient texts, in archaeological sites, in the enduring achievements that still influence our world today. We stand at a crucial moment where old misconceptions can give way to historical truth, where distorted narratives can be replaced by accurate understanding. Remember these words: we are not cursed. We are descendants of great kings, queens, and warriors. This isn't just a statement of pride. It's a historical fact supported by biblical text and archaeological evidence. Our ancestors weren't just present at the dawn of civilization, they were among its principal architects. The journey of discovery continues. Each generation has the opportunity to uncover more truth, to understand more deeply, to appreciate more fully the remarkable legacy that has been preserved for us. The story of Ham's descendants isn't just African history or biblical history, it's human history, and it belongs to all of us. As we look to the future, what will you do with this knowledge? The truth you've discovered today isn't just information to be passively received. It's a foundation for understanding who we are and where we come from. Our ancestors built pyramids that still touch the sky, developed mathematical principles that we still use today, and created civilizations that shaped the course of human history. This journey of discovery is far from over. There are still ancient cities waiting to be uncovered, texts to be re-examined, and stories to be retold with accuracy and dignity. Each new archaeological discovery adds another piece to this magnificent puzzle of human history. The legacy of Ham's descendants continues to reveal itself through ongoing research and excavations across Africa. Think about the immense significance of what we've learned. The biblical narrative, when accurately understood, tells a story of innovation, leadership, and divine purpose. The peoples of ancient Africa weren't on the margins of history. They were at its very center, creating, building, and innovating in ways that would influence civilizations for millennia to come. For those who have grown up believing the false narrative of Ham's curse, today marks a new beginning. You are the descendant of builders, inventors, and leaders who helped shape our world. Your heritage isn't one of curse, but of creativity, not of shame, but of achievement, not of bondage, but of innovation. The time has come to reclaim this legacy. Dedicate yourself to learning more about your true heritage. Share these truths with others who may still labor under centuries of misunderstanding. Become a guardian of historical truth and biblical accuracy. Join us as we continue to explore more extraordinary revelations from history and scripture. Subscribe to our channel for weekly journeys into hidden histories, forgotten truths, and amazing discoveries that continue to reshape our understanding of the past. Together, we'll uncover more stories that have been waiting centuries to be told. Let me leave you with this powerful truth. Every time you see the Great Pyramids, remember, those were your ancestors. When you read about the first complex surgical procedures, remember, those were your ancestors. When you study advanced ancient astronomy, remember, those were your ancestors. You are not cursed. You are called to carry forward a legacy of excellence that began at the dawn of human civilization, called to build upon the foundation laid by those who came before, called to ensure that the truth about your heritage is preserved for generations to come. The story doesn't end here. This is just the beginning. Join us next week as we uncover more hidden treasures from our shared human history. Subscribe now and become part of this continuing journey of discovery. Remember, truth is not just meant to be learned, it's meant to be lived. How will you carry forward this legacy of excellence today?